paid good money to see this movie. When they go out to a theater, they want cold sodas, hot popcorn, and no monsters in the projection booth.
Everyone pretend podcasting isn't boring.
Turn it off. Turn it off.
I'm so worried about you and your brother. I haven't heard from you guys in days. I had a really bad dream. It was horrible. It was really, really sad. Please call me. I'm so worried. I love you. I love you.
What are you reporting? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Ma'am? Can you hear me?
Hey folks, welcome to a special episode of The Projection Booth. I'm your host, Mike White. On this episode, I am talking with Robbie Banfitch, the writer, director, and star of the new film, The Outwaters. It is available now via streaming. Check it out, and I hope you enjoy the interview. This is not your first feature, if memory serves. You've actually directed a feature before?
It's not out yet, so it's my feature debut, but it's not the first feature that I directed.
Oh, wow. How did that work out?
Just because the first feature I directed still doesn't have an original score, it's taking the back burner.
Can you tell me a little bit about you and how you got involved with filmmaking?
I grew up in suburban New Jersey and was a big early Jurassic Park, Jaws, Star Wars fan. So that got me, from a very early age, interested in filmmaking. I started making movies when I was about 10, made them all throughout middle school and high school. I went to School of Visual Arts in New York City for film. Was there for 4 years, graduated, moved to Hollywood, and I worked at an independent film company for a couple of years. Then I wound up working at Greenpeace and just kind of was not making my own projects, and I was focused on my day job. And after like 5 or 6 years of that, I started getting the itch again. I was like, I have to make my movie. So that's where these projects were born, in the, not midlife crisis, but like, oh shit, like, we're all going to die at some point. So better do my stuff.
Looking mortality in the face at such a young age. I love it.
Well, I was a big 6 Feet Under fan. So yes, I'm grateful to know that we are actually mortal.
I have to ask this question, even though I hate asking this question, but where did the idea for The Outwaters come from?
It came from the word Outwaters, which not a word, although apparently it's a last name, which I found out after I made the movie. No, one of my favorite words is Outlands. Just I like the poetry of that word and what it means. So somewhere in there, Outwaters popped into my head, and then I was like, that's a great film title. So I better be the one to make it, because I can't let that title go to waste. So all the images and the story were born out of thinking about that word as a film title. And then the story was built from there. So specifically with this movie, the ideas were explored from initial images, and the story was explored and crafted around, built around an initial image, whereas my other films not necessarily are not like that.
Tell me about your main actor, this guy, Robbie Banfitch. I think you say his name. It feels like the guy's got some issues. It feels like he must have been really tough to work with.
Yeah. Actually, I am tough. So I'm like super, no, I'm pretty decent. I get like frustrated very easily. So when you're shooting out in the desert, sometimes if something's not going your way, like you're being swarmed by bees or the wind is too much, I can get mental loop of like, But luckily I've gotten better at that over the course of the 3 features that I've made. So I'm pretty easy to work with. I don't mind dumping blood on myself and running around naked and in 110 degrees with a heavy camera setup.
Did you ever regret working in the desert?
No, I want to go. I go back out there. I went back out there and shot more stuff for the prequel memory card 0. So I love an excuse to go shoot in the desert. I just like being out there or anywhere. That's why all 3 of my movies take place in nature, a lot of them.
And in all seriousness, tell me about your other cast members. I'm so curious how you know them and how they got involved with this.
Scott and Michelle, we all worked together at Greenpeace. So we've known each other for many years and they're good friends. We were good friends at work and outside of work. Ange and I met in New York City when we were both like in our early 20s in college. I used to hang out at her school and wait for hot boys because she went to Fashion Institute of Technology and I went to SVA, and most of the gay guys were at FIT. So that's how I met Ange, by just hanging out over there for dating purposes. But no, we've all been friends for a long time. So, and they all have, obviously I like all their personalities. That's why I chose them for this.
And you mentioned Card 0, and I have to say, I love this whole like expanded universe that you've created, and just the way that especially music plays such an important part in this. I know you're a big music fan. Like, it's so unusual to look at your Twitter profile and be like, oh, he links to a Spotify list, not to an IMDb profile, which is very unusual. But each of these characters, or some of these characters, I should say, having playlists and having so much diegetic music. I love the world that you're creating.
Thank you. This is a good opportunity to mention that all the music is diegetic. And if something sounds like music later on, it might not be music. This is just for certain, to enhance one's enjoyment. No, it was important to me that the music in the film be diegetic, considering it's found footage. So I thought it was a unique opportunity to get a variety of different songs into a movie, because it would be based on what the different characters were playing in the background, as we all do in life. Most people love music. I love music. So it was a fun opportunity to showcase some stuff that people haven't heard before.
No, it's really nice. It's kind of like a really good mixtape.
I am known for making the best mixtapes by my friends.
What's your mixtape philosophy?
I don't know. I just spend a lot of time playing around with the order of the songs until they all flow like amazing. But I spend like a lot of time. I also used to like burn CDs and hand draw like illustrations on the covers and like give them to people.
Well, tell me a little bit more about making this movie. I mean, when did you actually shoot it?
Just sporadically due to work and then COVID over the course of like 2.5 years. But it was like 25 combined days of desert shooting. And then all the stuff outside of the desert was kind of like random and I wouldn't even consider it like a shoot necessarily. I'm like, oh, can you come over and do this scene? I have an idea. It was leisurely and complete freedom. And I obviously enjoy working that way.
And what was your post process like?
Me sitting where I'm sitting now for 18 hours a day for days on end sometimes, followed by long breaks of not looking at this movie so I could distance myself and come back to it with fresh eyes. So just lots of editing. I mean, so much playing around. And although the film is intended to feel raw and unedited, it's very specifically and carefully designed. But yeah, no, I mean, that's my favorite process. Editing, sound editing, movie editing. This is my favorite part.
Found footage film is always so interesting to me, especially, some people don't seem to have the care that you showed in Outwaters, where you actually seem to really be holding on to this verisimilitude as far as this is actually found footage. This isn't just something that we're saying is found footage, but then you're just like, well, where did they get the lights and how is this? And, like VHS movie series where you're just like, well, obviously none of this stuff was actually shot on VHS, and it doesn't look like you're showing it on a VHS tape. It's just this weird conceit. But I love what you were doing with Outwaters and really making me feel like I'm seeing footage that has been recovered.
That was, to me, the most important part from the very beginning. If I'm going to make a found footage movie, I would like to go back to the roots of the Blair Witch Project and make it feel raw. And I would like to use cameras that actual people use if they are out shoot. So, for example, in Tinsman Road, which is the upcoming one, I shot on mini DV, and actually just shot on mini DV rather than using a weird filter. If I'm going to do another found footage movie, it would be great to actually shoot it on video, on like an old camcorder. So it just depends on the story. Some stories would work for that. So Tinsman Road, I could never imagine making with the camera I made Outwaters with, but I could imagine making Outwaters with the camera I used for Tinsman Road. So it just depends on the story or the vision or whatever.
When you said that you would get up and walk away from working on Outwaters, were you working on other projects, or were you just kind of going back to the day job type thing?
This watching Real Housewives.
Is the film pretty informed by Real Housewives?
More the behind the scenes. Sometimes Ange and I would get into little Housewives-esque fights, and then we would have like our little scenes together in real life, not filmed, where we would, all right, let's just meet in the McDonald's parking lot and move past this. Let's move forward. That's what they always say now. We have to move forward because we have to stay on the show.
When did you actually premiere? What's the history of the film after it was done?
We had our world premiere at the New Jersey Film Festival in New Brunswick, New Jersey, which is the town I was born in. So that was very full circle. Unfortunately, Omicron started right before that, so they canceled the in-person portion, but it was all virtual. But that's where we had our premiere. And then the first physical in a theater premiere was in the Unnamed Footage Festival in San Francisco last March. My first time seeing anything I've done like on the big screen, so that was a cool life moment. And Tinsman Road will premiere at Unnamed Footage Festival at the end of March next month. So busy couple months for me of editing and editing.
You mentioned the bees earlier, and do I understand right that the bee stuff actually happened? That what we see in the movie is partially what really happened?
That's all what really Ange and I were pretending we were on a Real Housewives cast trip. We were in the desert, so we were just like pouring water on ourselves and having some kind of cocktail. And I guess the bees were attracted to the water. And then when we were doing our tent scene inside the tent, started noticing their shadows flit by and whatnot. When we came out of the tent and we were done with the scene, there was like at least 100 bees covering everything. And we had to run to the car. I was getting hit in the face with bees. They didn't sting me, but I was getting smacked by them. And then we had to abandon the location until it got dark, wound up at a Denny's, came back to the location in the middle of the desert, in the middle of the night, in the darkness to retrieve our belongings, camped out, and then woke up with the bees on our tent again, like a mile or two from where we were shooting. So they like followed, I'm sure their scent, they left their scent all over that shit. Little assholes. But they made for a good scene. And then one of the bees was attracted to my fake blood, so there is a shot of a bee that decided it wanted to hang out in the food. The fake blood was basically food. So that did nod to my favorite horror movie, Candyman, a little bee in blood. So I appreciate that bee specifically. My favorite character.
You've got another movie coming out next month, or premiering next month, I should say. I mean, how many things are you working on at a time?
Not usually many. It's just while I was editing Outwaters, I wanted to make another movie because I had the idea. So that's why that happened. And then the only reason my first one's not out yet is that's been done for a while in terms of the shoot and the edit. It's just it's a silent feature length film. So there needs to be an extremely complicated and amazing score. And I just haven't had time to figure that out or pay somebody for that. So that's why that's hanging in the background. I'm looking forward to a break. I would like to go to Miami and dance. Yeah, that's the interesting time in my life these past couple months.
So other than dancing in Miami, what's next for you?
I'd like to go somewhere to write a couple of scripts after all this dies down in a few months. So I was thinking somewhere in Montana and then maybe Australia, Hawaii, and just like kind of write. But obviously I would need the resources to do that, and I don't currently have them. So we'll see. But I do need to get writing again. I haven't had time to. Not busy enough for the housewives, but I am pretty busy.
Well, Robbie, thank you so much for your time. It was great talking with you and meeting you.
You as well.
No flowers here, no violets, my dear. Fell my roses to the floor, swept them petals out the door, and he was gone. It's been a long time since I had a man of mine hold me close and sing my name. No more sorrow, no more shame. Well, I was wrong. Well, I was hold on now, let's go back to the nights out on the deck. Were you wearing a disguise so you could gaze into my eyes? But tell me now, your words were rambling like a brook. Well, damn it up, 'cause you're a crook. You left your lover on the hook. Well, I was wrong. Well, I was wrong. I heard you do this all the time. Switch your major on a dime, all one minor in a rhyme. Oh, I've been crying in the dark. All my lovers missed the mark. I've never known another heart. No trouble now. Oh, I'm forgetting you somehow. And if you left a bitter taste, my buds won't let it go to waste. So take your bow. I'll just throw back some better wine and shoot the stars to pass the time. Oh, isn't being wrong sublime? So spin your fable beneath the table, and every time I close my eyes, I'm no cities fell. All my tears have done me well. Oh, it's all just a spell. Oh, it's all just a spell.